was spending time, cherry wine splendid. You were like a daydream, I rewind endless, giving me a peace of mind. We designed, hopelessly lost in deep emotions, knowing love was cemented.
What's up, everybody? Here we are with Second Impression, the show where we talk to all artists all over the world. We got one artist right here that is amazing. Y'all probably know both of us from YouTube and all that, and doing the whole toy stuff and toy photography. But this guy right here, he's a master of all crafts and a master musician. So definitely want to talk to him today about his music career, and his upcoming project. Lael Rockwell, what you got going on? What's going on with you, brother?
Bro, man, it's always a pleasure to be here, man. And it's a pleasure to basically have, this platform to speak outside of what we do. I mean, you see all the stuff. We got our collection and everything is back there. Right. But we're so much more outside of this. You know what I mean? We both come from musical backgrounds. We both come from, just sonics. I say sonics and booms and our relationship to sound. We come from that. You know what I mean? That's our coexistence first. I mean, but a lot of our approach to hip hop, our approach to music in general is centered around imagination. Our imagination started from childhood experiences and stuff like that. So that's, the birth of, where we are. Most musicians out there right now, they are sparked by imagination. You can hear it through song. You can hear it through, basically like you can see it through videos and just the visual, the sonics, everything is derived off of, childhood experiences. I mean, I say hip hop and, comics and collect all of that basically ties in together, man. It's just basically a movement. It's a way of life. You know what I mean? So that's where we are, where I started from. I mean, it's crazy. It's ironic that, hip hop was started back August 11th, 1973. I was born in October 25th of 1973. So 2 months after that, I was birthed in a year of hip hop, bro. You know what I mean? Like that's
going to do it.
Exactly. So, I am a product of it. I always basically, when people ask, when I tell you I am a product of hip hop, I'm a product of that age where, again, we didn't have hip hop stations. We had rock, stations. We had all these different. The only way that we can actually connect to hip hop is if you listen to the Wiz or Music Box back in the day. Like anybody who's from New York, you know what Music Box is or Video Box is right now, or what the way it was back then. But I'm a child of those experiences, you know what I mean? And that's what shaped me. But again, it started with the imagination. So again, you see us, you see our shows, 1-6 Scale Man, Brother Cousins, you see these things, but just know that there's a background story behind it. There's things, we can't have, when you shoot your videos, when I've shot my videos, a lot of this is creative aspect of what we got from, whether we're reading comics or we're watching certain things, certain shows that we watch back, all that kind of just bleeds off into this space, man. So yeah, bro, that's for me, man, like it's everything. If I didn't have any of this, I wouldn't be who I am, bro. For real.
There you go. And that's really, we just jumped right into it. Thank you for that, man. That's amazing, because that's really my first question. Like, what inspired you? And that's like what you said, everything, like from comic books to life to, trials in life, like all that stuff.
Bro, we used to have back in, like I said, like I told you, man, I'm a child of the 70s and 80s. Back, even when I was young, we used to have dance parties. My mom's and my pops used to have, dance parties at the house. You know what I mean? Like, and they used to invite people over, my aunts, my uncles. We used to always listen to music. Me and, my brother, my older brother at that time, he basically engineered he used to take the cable off the TV and he used to plug the cable in the back of the actual stereo system so we can get the Wiz. And again, because the Wiz wasn't a syndicated broadcast station at that particular time, you can only get it a certain way because it only had like a certain reach. So he would plug the cable in and we would actually get the Wiz, but played nonstop, old school hip hop, all that other stuff. And again, it just gave us the essence of like a lot of the samples and stuff like that. Here comes Kool Herc, Marley Marl, who was basically in the Queens area for us. Who, we used to, see like, street parties, you know what I mean? They block parties that we used to have. They used to basically play like music from like rooftops or DJs, or people used to just play it from their windows. And that's just the way it was. I remember we had like, right out right in the Coliseum off of Jamaica Ave, we had what we called the Culture Fest. But the Culture Fest didn't have DJs out there, bro. It was people who actually put their stereo systems in the windows and would actually just play songs, right? And then one person would stop and they would point across the street, and another person that had their stuff would just pick up so that person could have a break. You know what I mean? And that's where it started. But then on top of that, what happened was that's when we started getting DJs who would bring their stuff outside, and it was everything, bro. We didn't have mixtapes. It was cassette tapes that you would basically splice the actual cassettes, and you would just bridge certain songs. You would hit record, chop in certain spaces, everything. MCs from local areas would just grab the mic off of just sampled music. Sometimes you would even hear vocals from the songs that would bleed off, but you got to just still rap over top of it. You know what I mean? Like, but that's how it was. I grew up in that era, bro, and it was just all creativity. You had your break dances, your hip hop, beatboxers, MCs, everything was just what it was. The culture was the way of life. But then the crazy part about it is, bro, is that once it all ends, we going in the house watching Wonder Woman, Superman, Incredible Hulk, all that stuff, bro. We're watching these things on TV, and then all of that, those conversations would bleed off into lyrics. Because you would basically talk about the things that you were seeing, and that's what made a lot of these, like Lou Ferrigno, Linda Carter, Bo and Luke Duke, Daisy Dukes, all that. What do you think Daisy Dukes, they were popular based off of a hip hop track?
There you go.
You feel me? So that's what I'm saying. Like when people look at a lot of these cultural references and they look at a lot of these things through history, know that hip hop has been the cornerstone of a lot of these conversations and why a lot of these shows. Timberland wouldn't be as popular as it is if it wasn't for us culturally. Tommy Hilfiger, Nautica, all those things wouldn't be as popular as they are if it wasn't for us and if it wasn't for the conversations that we spearheaded and talked about, bro. So that's what I'm saying. Hip hop is the way of life. Has been bled off. Why you think that we got, even in comics, people started making those hip hop covers that represented, certain songs and albums, stuff like that. It's because of us culturally, bro. So for me, my inspiration has always been my environments, my mother, my musical background with my family, because my mother and my uncles used to have bands. My father was, my father moving here from Cuba. He was ex-military. He basically is a veteran. You know what I mean? But just some of those things that kind of bled off into like who I am as a person, and that full support that I got from my family to be who I am, bro. You know what I mean? To allow me to really express myself through music, through collecting, through art in general. Because a lot of us weren't built to go out here and pick up a basketball play, man. A lot of us weren't built to be lawyers. A lot of us weren't built to be doctors, man. But we are creatively in tune with life, vibration. And music is a sonic, a vibration that we speak through. We hear these things on a daily. We hear ideas. We write that shit down. So that's all my influences, bro, in general.
That's amazing. That is amazing. And like with all those experiences, that is hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And that's what makes it beautiful. That's, I mean, to have such an eclectic background and to pull all that into your music. I mean, that's what it's about. And it's like sampling at its best. That's really what it is. All these pieces, all these phases of life, from what you see on TV, from what you're hearing, your environment, from your parents, all that, pulling all that into, and it's funny when you write a song, when you produce a track, all of that is going into that. All of it.
Yeah. It is, bro.
Yeah.
It is. Like, I mean, I remember being in Sydney, Australia. And again, bro, I lived over there for like 12 years. It was the best experience of my life. And I think that more so made me realize that this was something that I could do and I was able to do. But it also allowed me to see the industry for what it was.
Gotcha.
And why it was important for me to maintain my independence. Why I didn't want to be signed by any label. Why I didn't want to be attached to any type of label. Why I wanted to do this on my own. You feel me?
Yes.
That it again, I remember we started when we started, it was, at the time, my ex-wife, who is now like one of my best friends, her brother, that's where I would actually say that's where Lael Rockwell was spawned from.
Got you.
From being around, because before, like, I was part of a group. I
Yeah.
was, when I started, a friend of mine, Scott Selvey, back in like the early 90s, is the one who told me to pick up a pen at that time to really, really write. Because I would write when I was young, but I just didn't take it serious. But he was the one, may he rest in peace, told me, he said, pick up a pen, write. This is what I want you to do. And, we became part of a group back then. It was called the Inner Sanctum at that time. You know what I mean? It was a bunch of us, but we were almost like the Woo at that time, because we had different sections and stuff like that. So me and Scott, we were like the more conscious party goers. We had my man Arlo right now, Swanson. He was part of like the underground, and then we had my man Tro and Boo. They were a certain aspect. So everybody kind of fed off of each other, but it was a group then. But after that, I really kind of stepped away from it, went to school, got my degree in engineering, moved to Sydney, Australia, was doing music. Then once I met her and her brother, we started doing music together, and that's where Rockwell was performed. I mean, Lael Rockwell came about, just me in general as an artist. And, what the dope part about Sydney, Australia, bro, is there's an artist on every block. There's artists everywhere. Like, you have your singer right here. You have your dancers here. You have your musicians across the street. You have a DJ. You have like a producer. Everybody was on one block. You have your models. You have so many different individuals, bro.
Wow.
If and I showed you the song, like the one that we did. We have a video called "Revenge is Sweet."
Gotcha.
And with "Revenge is Sweet," bro, we shot this video in one day.
Oh, wow.
Now, mind you, it was unrehearsed. Nobody showed up. Nobody showed up to rehearse anything. We just told people where to be, and what to do, and how to portray it. And they pulled it off so well. It's because they were all talented, and they were all friends, and they were all along with the journey. We shot this video in one day. It was called Revenge is Sweet. It was a mini movie that we actually shot. You know what I mean? So when we did this, bro, it kind of fueled that, because I had so many different albums. One was Revenge is Sweet. Before that, it was Martyr. Martyr was basically one of my albums at that time. Okay. When I moved back over here, Authentic Behavior was my first album coming back in the US. The next album after that was Black Boy. That I basically did. And again, like, I had like this album right now, which is Everywhere All at Once. It'd be my 7th album, my 7th and final album right now.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Off of the actual journey. Okay. This album took the longest because, we get into that point where, have I said everything that I needed to say? Do I need to say more at this particular point? You know what I mean? And on top of that, with just the state of music in general, is it even worth it? But it was my kids, both my children, who were like, "Yo, Dad, you got stuff that you're sitting on. You need to do this." And I was like, "Okay, well, you know what? Let me just finish this up. Let me just, dust off the studio and just get out there and create." You know what I mean? Because I stopped, bro. Bro, collecting, this takes up majority of our fucking space, bro.
It really does.
It does. It takes up majority of our space, bro.
I never thought when we, started on this journey of doing YouTube and during the pandemic that this would be what it is and how time consuming it is. And that's the thing that's kind of like, damn, it does take a lot of time. And I get it, like, where you at with your, with doing this, because I asked myself the same questions. It was like, did I want to, do I have anything else to say at my age at 44, like, did I have anything else to say in this climate of music and how, and how disposable it is right now? Does people even care about me, taking the time, honing and making a song or is it even worth it? And like you said, I played, a song I put out a couple weeks ago. I played it for my daughter a bunch of times. Even when I was, mixing it last year, and she, so she's heard it for about a year now. And she went, because she would listen to a lot of music on like on Alexa. So she'll say, "Hey, Alexa, play, whatever." And she didn't hear she asked for that particular song. And she was like, why I can't hear it on, the Alexa? I was like, well, it's not out yet. And she looked at me with a strange look and says, why is it not out? And I was like, damn.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
It's like that. So
and
I
they
get,
will let you know. Like, that's the
know.
thing is my youngest, who's 13. My oldest is 26. My youngest is 13.
Yeah.
And she's, my oldest is the more conscious and, earth-centered space of who I am as a person.
Yeah.
My youngest is the creative, artsy musician, dancer, all of that. She's that side of who I am, the collector, the comic. She's that. Both of them are basically like comic heads now.
Right.
But my youngest is more so that side of who I am as a person.
Right.
And so I remember like going when I went to go, we were all together in New York, in Harlem. My daughter always asking, and she would always be like, you know what, Dad, I heard some of your music back then. And what are you doing now? Like, you should really do it. Mm-hmm. And I was still questioning. I was like, you know what? I was already in a very depressive space, with everything that's going on, not feeling like we're reaching the right audience, or, am I just in a space where this is all I do? This,
right.
You know what I mean? There's other things. Am I exercising the gifts that Allah has given me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I wasn't, you know what I mean? And I was like, how can I tell my daughters to be great and to really expand and do the things that they need to do if I'm not practicing those same sentiments? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I was like, if I got the music and I'm sitting on it, it doesn't matter if it goes anywhere, bro, but at least I can say that I've completed it. I've done it. And it's out there. We never know where it may go until we basically try it, bro. If I was able to take a leap of faith, moving from here to Sydney, Australia, with just the clothes on my back and maybe $2,000 in my pocket at that time, bro,
wow.
and made something of it at that time, then what? You know what I mean? Like, I had to, show them that this is the space. You know what I mean? You can't be disappointed to your children or your family.
Exactly.
That's the most important thing, is you can't be in, and then, listening to Toya, who's been a big influence of bro, like Toya was the reason why I started the 1/6 Scale Man YouTube channel.
Really?
Yeah. It was her. Because once we, again, I was working at that time with, Will Foxification, Optical 20 and all of them. And once that ended, she was like, you need to do your own show. You have a voice, but you need to become. And she was the reason why I kind of got spearheaded into this. She's the one who's been telling me that, yo, if you're not going to do music, or if you don't want to put out an album, at least do lo-fi, just songs and stuff like that. But you got this stuff that you're sitting on. You need to do it. So I was like, you know what I mean? So it was my children and Toya that were the ones that were like, you have to do this. Like, you have my mother as well. You have to do this. And this is what I have to say for people who watch this video. We as men, and people don't really want to admit this, but the strongest aspect of who we are isn't our capability and our ability to basically deliver what it is that we do in our talent show, but it's always the voices behind us. And majority of them are the women in our lives, bro. Whether it's your mother, whether it's your wife, your girlfriend, your sister, your daughters, your friend, no matter, it's the women in your lives, bro, that are the ones that are going to push you forward, because they see more than what we see, and they're more connected to the emotional side of what we disconnect ourselves from.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So that was the thing that told me to go ahead and move forward, bro. And that's pretty much where I'm at right now, bro.
That's beautiful, man. That is totally beautiful. I'm gonna jump around with some of the questions. It's funny. It's a couple of things you hit on with this. Me and you kind of talked about it earlier, but I'm gonna jump onto this one first. And I found it interesting because I always thought this. I met Method Man back when, I think it was back in 1997 in BET Soundstage. It's like 97 or 98. I can't remember. But I asked him, I said, you was talking about Johnny Blaze, and back then, it wasn't, a lot of rappers weren't talking about comics and stuff. You heard it in with the lyrics, but nobody really came out and was like, yo, I'm a comic head. And then I was like, yo, what do you read comics? He was like, fuck yeah, I read comics.
Yeah.
And it felt so refreshing because me and my boy, we was like, yo, we was able to chop it up with him and talk about X-Men. He's like, I read this, and it was cool as shit. And I was like, yo, he cool. I knew this motherfucker read comics.
Mm-hmm.
When the Joey Badass a couple weeks ago, what was it last week? He comes out and I forget who was interviewing him, but he was like, "Oh, rappers are nerds, bro." He's like, "Look at Jay-Z, nerd, Drake, nerd, me, nerd." And I was like, yeah. Some of the best wordsmiths out here kind of have to be nerds because you're looking for those words. You're constantly reading or just looking at different things in life. And if popular consensus want to call that nerdism or being a nerd, look, we got fucking iPhones and shit now. Everybody's a nerd at this point. So it just felt refreshing to hear somebody to hear that. I mean, your thoughts on that. I mean,
bro, listen, Nas, nerd.
Yeah.
Majority of these individuals, the entire Wu fraternity, nerds. Yeah. They're open about that stuff. Bro, DMC, who has a comic.
Yeah.
Nerd. You know what I mean?
But look at you, wait, hold on. Jizza, I just thought about it. He's like, he got like classes at Harvard and shit now.
Yeah. Jizza. Pharoah Monch, who's a collector and a nerd himself. Right. Yeah. Kwame, who's a collector and a nerd himself. You got even Lupe Fiasco, who's a nerd in general, who teaches as well. So you got a lot of these individuals out there that background started before hip hop. Their background was, again, comic collecting, collecting figures or just being submersed in this, in the imagination of just hip hop, the concept, watching shows, stuff like that. That's what it's derived from, bro. Hip hop is a part of that particular space. It is what it is. And they're right. All of us are nerds, bro. We are. Started from, Pharrell, you know what I mean? And Neptune. Huge nerds, bro.
Yeah.
Huge nerds, bro. That's where it's at. Like, that's how it basically starts. So when you think about that, bro, like, if we weren't, how connected would we actually be to, if we weren't, would we be connected to the words that we speak?
Yeah.
Because it influences those things because of the reading, everything that we've read. A lot of, our English translation and things that we know right now derives from just constantly reading comics, graphic novels, stuff like that. You know what I mean? When we put thought into production, videos and stuff, and I'm pretty sure you've done it. Any video that you've actually done comes from the concept that you have in your head of what you want to see.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that's just basically the way it is. Is because, and we are the directors and the narrators of our own story, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Of what we want to see and how we actually want to see it. When I did the album Fairy Tale of Amada, bro, that entire album was a dream sequence. It was, it was a dream sequence through song. So I started out as, what it was about. Fairy Tale of Amada was about an artist, him and his producer, who sold their souls to the devil to make it.
Oh, that's dope.
And the devil that I had, the devil in my ear was a female who was a devil.
Yeah. And
she enticed me. And through that, I was enticed by her to leave a loved one, to leave someone who I loved. And I had to find my way back through love by the end of the album. I found my way back to this female through love. And even when I did I did an album, I did a song first when I was over in Sydney, Australia. It was called Riding a Star. And that album sequence was being molested by the industry and leaving your loved one, the person who was riding with you the entire time, behind, and to get where you are right now. So that's what I'm saying. Like, the Fairy Tale of Amada came right after like my first album, which my first album over there was, so it was Unidentified was my first album.
Right.
And that's what led into Fairy Tale of Amada, which from Fairy Tale of Amada it led into Revenge is Sweet. And then from Revenge is Sweet, it led into Authentic Behavior. Authentic Behavior led into Black Boy. And now from Black Boy into like just so many different sequences of albums to now this particular point where we are ending it with Everywhere All at Once. So all things are it's been a story, it's been a constant story. And through it, the culprit who was evil was a character named Maria.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So
you know
all
what I mean?
the concept albums that all interconnect.
That interconnect. And it started years ago. I mean, we're talking about an album sequence that started over 13 years ago, bro.
Wow.
And it's ended up to this particular point. So a lot of that, I say that was because of nerdism, bro. Being influenced by certain movies. Like if you think about Fairy Tale of a Martyr, the Riding a Star was based off of Inception. Because after you got to that album or that video, if you watch the video at the very end of the video, there's a nickel, a coin that's spinning. And you don't know if it's going to stop or not. Because that was my, it starts with me laying down, but then waking up and I look and see that my girl was there. You know what I mean? She's really there, and the coin is spinning to let you know whether or not it's going to. So that a lot of that was started off of, that. And then once we get to Fairy Tale of a Martyr, which I think was like the second video we shot, it was, bro, it's crazy, like the concept. And I shout out to my man Paul Stephanitis, who was a music engineer, but also the master and a videographer over there. He shot every single video that I've done over there at City on Strand. He's still doing it to this day. He said, like, yo, we got to do work again. I said, bro, I want to, but you know how much it's gonna cost for me to get over there and do all that stuff, man. So hopefully, we can make it happen. But I'm saying, bro, when Joey Badass said that, it's the truth.
Yeah,
it's the truth, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Even off of his first album, was it 1993 or was it like 1990? I think it was first album, 1994. I forget what it was called.
Yeah.
The one he did with like Pete Rock and a host of other individuals.
Yeah.
That entire album was like just mainly nerdism. If you think about it, if you hear it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So, when we think about, artists and people who are out there, bro, they're influenced by something. And it's a beautiful thing. But I think that some people shy away from that aspect.
It has, I think it had a negative connotation to it for years, nerd, and then you heard the thing of blurred, and then, growing up being in the hood and amongst around other individuals it just had a negative connotation. Oh, if you a nerd, you can't fight, or if you a nerd, you ain't down to rap, or you ain't. And I think that's where people, were high. It was a lot of dudes. There was a lot of niggas in my hood that was hiding that shit, and it's like you watch, like, okay, you watch this, you watch that, you read this, you read that. We all in the same boat together. Come on, it's nothing new under the summer. And even if you are, and I think the thing of it is, even if you are a thug or if you are out there doing some bad shit, that's almost like a product of circumstance. It's not who you are. Who you are is those things that you like, is those things, that you read about. But I think the biggest misconception, people want to, want to fall into this box of, this is who I am, and I'm repping my hood, I'm repping my block, and that's no. That may be part of you, but there's other sides. You can't do that and be in front of your mom and still be thugging. It doesn't work that way. You know what I mean?
Your mama slapped the shit out of you, bro.
Straight up.
Like, nigga, please. Like, who you think you is? You know what I mean? I know you, Jerome. Right. I know who you are, family. So,
But then you have cousins that's like that too. I've seen it. I know. I got, I had dudes that I know that was like the man out there. But then I would see them around their cousins like, you probably think you like that in the street, but for real, I know you. I know Jerome.
I know who you are. I know who you really are. We was raised together, remember?
Right.
You know what I mean? I know what we did, bro. I know how we just chose two separate paths. And even though we've chose those two, you still come over my house to game. You still basically come over my house to watch whatever. You still basically reminisce on all these things. You got enticed by something that was completely different, whereas I stayed the same. Exactly. Bro, you know what was crazy? We went to this function last night. Me and Toya, we went out. It was me, her, and her family. We went to it was a festival in the park. Music Show Child performed here, right?
Oh, nice.
And he basically went up and before he got on stage, they had like a lot of local artists that were out here and they performed, right? And then we had this DJ that was from Harlem, you know what I mean, that performed. And they killed it, bro. It was the best one of the best functions I've seen around since. It was one of the best functions I've been a part of since the Michael Jackson Prince celebration in Brooklyn.
Wow.
Spike Lee does every year, every summer. You know
Yeah.
what I mean, or every other summer. It was one of the best times I've actually had. So, but after we were leaving out, and we were going, because she had parked further down, because she had to go pick up her daughter. Then she came back. I, gave her the keys to the Jeep, said go pick up whatever, come back, whatever. And we left. We were walking across the street. And a friend of mine named Gary Fallins. He, again, he's a frat brother.
Gotcha.
But we walked across the street. He saw Toya. I said, "Hey, what's up, Gary? I haven't seen him in years. I see him every so often, but we haven't really talked in years." And he was like, "Yo," telling Toya, he was like, "What you have here right now is a solid dude." He said, "You have a real solid dude." He says, "Let me tell you something. We grew up on the same block." He said, "And I would always wait for him to come home from school." He said, "I would get home first, but I would wait for him to come home from school, just to, like, if anything was on his mind, we would sit on the porch, we'd have a conversation, we talk for hours." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My mom's was his mom's was my mom's, and that's just the way it was. We would talk for hours, bro, like back and forth. And he was like, "Look, we come from the opposite side of the street."
Yeah.
My life back then was really, really iffy. Now, mind you, he's got himself back. And when he went to college, everything changed. Yeah. But he was like, my life back then was really, really, really iffy compared to the way it is now. It's different. Yeah. He said, but the thing is, Lael's always stayed the same. He's always stayed that person. Even when he went to school, and he was like, yo, like, because bro, like I'm a product of hustlers, drug dealers, and so all that. I'm in that atmosphere. But they never made me a part of that. Exactly. And they always respected me for who I was. You know what I mean? Like, I never had a problem. Even, bro, I would wonder why. And the crazy part of it was, I'd be at school. I had my own group, my own group of clans. I was, they call us like sharp kids because, like, back then, like, we always had the latest J's and all that other stuff. Yeah. But it's because, I still, collected comics, and I still did that, whatever, watch movies. But I was in a band in high school, fam. I was a drum major in high school. You feel me? Like, I played football, I played basketball, but I was more so I wasn't. I came off the bench, you know what I mean? And you know what I mean? I was second team in football, but I shined in the band. I shined in music. I was known for all of that. I was, with my crew back in the day, our dance crew back in the day, I was known for all of that, bro. But even through all of that, bro, if you looked at us, you would be like, yo, everybody thought we were soft kids. We weren't soft at all. Right. But it was the problem that we never got a chance. I never got a chance to show how soft I wasn't, because it was, whether it was cousins or just people who lived in the atmosphere, would never let me get in that space, bro. I remember one time we went to, like, what was called, it was the Harris dance. We were walking home and cats were fighting everywhere, right? We walking home like, yo, what's going on? This, that, and the third. Car pulls up right in front of us. Cats basically from Southside jump out the car, looking at us. One dude was like, hold up. He looked. He was like, yeah, that's Tink's boy right there. Nah, that's Tink's family. Let's go. Let's go. Nah, don't fuck with him. Don't fuck with him. That's what everybody knew me as. Yo, that's Tink's fan. That's Tink's fan. You know what I mean? Or, yo, he's, he's part of the Brawlers crew, Hillside Brawlers at that time. Don't fuck with him. I was like, I ain't part of nobody's fucking crew. But it was just a simple fact that they was like, yo, don't fuck with him. That's just the way it was. All through middle school, junior high, and that's just basically the way it was. Don't fuck. We can walk anywhere and nobody that's Tink's crew. Don't fuck with him. Don't do it. And that's just the way it was. And I would walk up and be like, yo, did you say anything to these cats? Like, is this always whatever? He said, I ain't had to. I had to say nothing. Respect. He said, I ain't had to say that. They know. They know. They know who you around. They know what it's all about. But these cats, like, I remember one time I'm walking up, bro. I had just, I had graduated. Actually, I was coming out of junior high going into, like, high school. Yeah. Just, got my, again, junior high, you walk the stage, get your little whatever, you going to high school and all that. Come outside, It's like cars deep. Four cars deep, bro. It was Tink and all, like my cousins and all of them. Everybody was out there. He was like, yo, you good? You come out? I was like, yeah. He said, get in the car, let's go. And I was like, where we going? You know what I mean? I just want to go home and all that. He said, we're going to take you home. Don't worry about it. Go home. These cats took me to the mall, bro. I got like 3 pairs of sneakers. They was just giving me all of this stuff, man. And I'm like, yo, why? Like, why are y'all doing that? It was because I'm like, yo, the school, I ain't even go up the high yet. Didn't even start. He's like, well, we just making sure you got a head start, family. That's what it's all about. We're going to make sure that you're taken care of. That's how it always was, bro. Like, I didn't want for nothing, but they always made sure that I had everything that I needed, but also made sure that I was safe. And what he always told me was, you're a musician. You have a bright future. Stay who you are. Fuck all this other shit right here, because that's not who you are. That's not a part of life that you need. We know your moms. We know your sister. We know all of these people, man. You are safe in this pocket. You don't need this extra lifestyle. And we're making sure that you, because all of these, you know, and I praise them for that, bro, because all these other cats didn't have those influences. And I'm talking about, like, bro, I'm talking about thugs. Half of these cats got bodies on them, bro. They got bodies on them for real. You know what I mean? But they made sure that I wasn't part of that spot. A lot of them I lost, but even still, they made sure that even coming out of high school, going to college, man, they made sure that I wasn't part of that atmosphere. And that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? Having those influences. And if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be where I'm at as far as the ideas and thinking forward and being who I am as a person. Easy, you know, bro, like you in DC. I'm here. I'm in Harrisburg now, but I'm a product of New York City, bro.
Right.
We could have easily said "fuck it" and did that bullshit.
Easily. There's so many opportunities, and like you, I had people. When I even started to rap, when I was a little kid rapping, you know, I ain't gonna lie. One of the things how I started rapping, I had the D-boys back in the day. We talking early '90s. They called me little riffraff. You know, I was influenced by Crisscross at that time. You know, we would be at the basketball court, and the basketball court is when all the action happened. If you know what I mean, all the banging, all the slanging was always at that basketball court. And I would be out there, you know, sneaking off the front. My mom didn't want me. My mom and cousins didn't want me to be on the front. I would sneak off, and they knew. A lot of them knew Second Brother. You know what I'm saying? They knew Second Brother, and Second Brother was kind of revered at that time because he was the person he is now. Imagine he was that person back then, just young,
crazy motherfucker, bro.
He didn't take no shit. You know,
exploitation, motherfucker, bro. Black exploitation to the.
There you go. But all the dealers who know, they knew him, was friends with him, but also it's like that's Second Brother's that's his little brother right there.
That's his little family.
You know, that's his little family right there. And they would have me on the block, and they'd be like, "Yo, rap." And I would just start freestyling, and I would just rap, and that's how and that's really how it took off. And just like you saying, when I got of age, when I had my record label, it was a dude that Mo was my guy, and Mo was I remember when I was in school and I graduated, out of all the people that we had in our little rap circle, when I graduated from college. Mo, none of them like congratulate, but Mo was out there. Mo was the man, and Mo was like, "I want to congratulate you. Keep doing what you're doing because I don't want you out here with me. Keep pushing it. You're talented. You got everything going for it. Keep pushing. I don't want you out here. I want to see you out here with me, bro." And that was one of the things that motivated me to just keep moving and keep pushing.
Yeah, bro.
Get great because I'm like, yo, I had too many people looking out for me, telling me to do the right thing. On that side of the fence, telling me to do the right thing, and they like, "You out here with us, you fucking up." You know what I mean?
Up.
Yeah,
especially if they see potential in you, bro. And then sometimes some of them want to live vicariously through you.
Exactly.
Because it was a missed opportunity for them, and they're too deep in what they're doing. That doesn't mean that they couldn't change, because there's a lot of, like I said, Gary Fallins at that time, bro. Even though he was on that other side of the tracks, he circled back around, graduated from college. He's a frat brother now doing positive things within the community, bro.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. He could have went that role, but he decided not to. But he also was the orchestrator, you know what I mean, of where I am right now. You know what I mean? So seeing him, and then for Toya to hear that, I think she needed, because she's heard it a couple times. She heard it from him, and she heard it by this cat named Joker, who was my barber. He was like one of my first barbers, bro. In junior high, like in the sixth grade. I always tell this story, bro. In the sixth grade, I wasn't shit. Like straight up, I wasn't nothing, bro. I was, I was just a young snotty nosed kid that was part of a crew. We used to artists and stuff like that. Girls didn't know who I was. They ain't know who the fuck kid. Seventh grade year, for some reason, bro. Between sixth and seventh grade, I sprouted. I don't know what it was. I don't know. I grew like I had some peach fuzz. I had like a full, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I got my first haircut by Joker, bro, because I saw his hair. I was like, I want my shit like that, bro. He said, all right, come over. And this is when your haircuts was like $5. Oh. $5 for a haircut, bro. I'm talking about $5 for like a cut with designs and everything. $5 He lived on Horner Street. Was right around the corner, 15th, where I was. Went over there, bro. Cut my hair right before, like it was in the seventh grade, right before school started. And I ain't gonna never forget. He became my barber. We went to the cafeteria because like that was, it was Scott and Roland. So I was in Scott, Roland was the other side. And I was in house 5 at that time. Was it house 5? Yeah, it was in house 5 at that time. And we were sitting, it was a bunch of us. It was me, my man, Arlo, who's on my album as well. That's my best friend. Nice. That's been my A1 for day one for over 30 something years. You know what I mean? So he's on the album as well. It was me, him, my man Butch, was my cousin. It was a whole bunch of them, us at the table, and we were, like the lunch line where like people like they're walking behind you, like to get to like another. So we sit at the table, and these 3 girls just start picking with me out of nowhere, just like saying little, like not smart things, but just like little, And they were like, yo, they feeling you, fam. I was like, no, fuck they ain't. I ain't care. I was like, yo, let's rock, do whatever we was doing and all that. Right. And it was a continuous thing until one of them asked for my phone number. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, bro? Is this who I am? So I bring that story up because even through all of that, it was still the crew. I didn't really care about all of that at that time. Yeah. I had maybe one girlfriend at that time. Her name was Kira Seipel. You know what I mean? Who I had, we were boyfriend and girlfriend from 6th to 8th grade, and after that I went to high school. Everything just changed. Right. But I say that because it was Joker who was an influence in my life, and it was Gary Forlins that were an influence in my life, and both of them said the same thing. We saw things in you that you at that time didn't see in yourself, and we wanted to be those orchestrators in your life to tell you this is where you needed to go, because you can end up any other way. You know what I mean? Like you can forget the talents that are basically provided to you, that are given to you. These streets will make you forget that shit time by circumstance. Yes. You feel me? Yeah. So they didn't allow me to get there, bro. They're the ones who, and I always pay homage to that. I always talk about that in my music. You know what I mean? I pay homage to these individuals by name, sometimes not by name. You know what I mean? But we tell, and like the dangers. I have to kind of correct Toyo on this sometimes too, bro. When we write songs, and maybe you go through this too. Do you ever write a song? And I know you do. Yep. You write a fucking song, right? Mm-hmm. And the song is just not sometimes even off of experiences that you had, but you can just take an idea and just write a song based on a fictional character. Yeah. Does your wife sometimes question you and be like, oh, who's that about? Oh, yeah. Does she do that shit?
Oh, yeah. Like with Trouble, not as much, but with Trouble, she was listening to some of the lyrics and she was like, what's this about? And I was like, it's made up.
That's what I'm saying, bro. It's a made up song, man.
She was like, no, but she's like, I know. I was like, well, it's how I work. I pull some experiences from my past. Yeah. And then I expound on it. It's like it's a little bit of truth, and then I just exaggerate it a little bit, and then just take it from that, and then take it from that point. It didn't mean it exactly happened the way I intended it. No. Unless I really break it down, like, oh yeah, this is a real story. This happened, blah, blah, blah. And now she sees it, like she'll see me writing. She'll see me like, writing stuff or come up with just stories off the top of my head. She'll be like, oh, you got that from when we was in the shopping, and you just Oh, okay. She's like, oh, okay. I see how you
Yeah.
do it. It's a little bit of realism, but a little bit of your creativity that's jumped in. I was like, yeah, that's how pretty much we all do it to a certain extent, unless it's like a real story verbatim. I'm saying, yeah, this really happened. This is this individual. This blah 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 blah. But yeah,
and we do that. Bro,
Toya
Toya does it all the time, man. She'll ask me a question. I'll be like, babe, this has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with anybody in particular. It's a story. And a lot of these may be stories that I've heard, I've seen. You know, my friends might have called me and talked about it, or just life in general. Hell, I might even seen it from a damn movie.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, bro. Some of the most like for real, some of the most iconic movies to me that have actually ended up in my some of my latest work was Inception. What was it? That movie with Matt Damon and Adjustment Bureau.
Yes.
So that ended up in my album. I mean, on one of my songs. Just in general, there were certain things elements of certain movies that ended up in the album that kind of took me to different places. And just different experiences and stuff like that. But it's that level of creativity. You know what I mean? But sometimes I'm driven off of that. If I don't have an inspiration, then I'm just like, sometimes we get those writer's block type of situations.
Oh yeah. Yes.
You have, and sometimes, bro, like I took 2.5 years off from music.
Oh yeah.
Literally.
I've been off from music when 2020 happened. Everything, like my world changed. Moving here to this home, getting married, the pandemic, all that stuff. I wasn't a rapper anymore at all. I was like, and that's when the YouTube channel started. And I was just like, I'm finding this space right here because music had become too chaotic. It just wasn't. I wasn't me. Like you said, I felt that I ran out of things to say. And then I took time off. And then, but now I'm at a different space. And it seems like you're at that different space too, where it's like, okay, let's just put this out. You know what I'm saying? There's too many artists out here and too many men out here, too many black men out here of a certain age to still have a story to tell. The idea formed in my head when I think I was watching Breakfast Club, and it was Charlemagne. And Charlemagne said some shit that just rang so true. He was like, "Why does rap music have to be a young man, or hip hop have to be a young man's game? Why? Why does it have to be a young man's game? Any other music doesn't have that. You got people." Nope. Tom Petty was rocking up until he died. Same with David Bowie. Same with all these musicians. Why the hell is rap a young man's game? Now, I only feel it's a young man's game when you're saying, when you out here talking about being on the block and you 50, bruh, come on.
That's the problem.
That's the problem. You out here talking like you 21 and you 50. That no. That's where it's just not. It's not cool. It looks weird. It looks weird doing like that. But but there's an audience out here, and going into my next question, what do you think about ageism in hip hop? Because you're seeing that a lot, but looking at the old cast is killing it right now. Clips may have the best album,
They might got album of the year, bro.
Yeah. And
this fucking album is, bro. They got album of the year. Nas with King's Disease was killing it. Back to back, bro. Been killing
some of the best work in his whole career.
Pete Rock and Common came out with that album. They dropped it and they fucking killed it, bro.
Yes.
Literally killed it.
Yes.
Lupe just dropped a single not too long ago. Has basically been killing it. You got Rakim, definitely just released, a body of work that's incredible still as well.
But so even these current kids, like even if love them or hate them, even Drake is like damn near 40 at this point. So it's like, come on.
That's what I'm saying, bro, and still doing it. Here's the thing: is hip hop for some reason is the only genre of music where motherfuckers feel it has an expiration date. Like you have to be aged out to do it. Now the thing is, they don't get where evolution in words come from. We can start basically being braggadocious in the very beginning. We can go from that to being gangster rappers and all that other shit. We can go that. We can go through a conscious phase. But then at the age that we are right now, bro, I'm 51 years old, proud of it. I got stripes that I live by right now, bro.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's the art of story. I live by the art of storytelling.
Yeah.
I can tell stories based on, fictional events, or it can be nonfiction or fiction. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it all has sense because I can talk about just things that are happening in the world right now, relationships. I can talk about, just reminiscing on days of things that would happen back in the day. I can reminisce on, my love for, collecting sneakers, riding bikes to movie theaters, reminisce on like just hip hop the way it was. I can reminisce on everything. It's art.
Yeah.
And especially in the hip hop community, it's art. But I think we ourselves in the mindset keeps this genre complacent because a lot of these young cats now refuse to know what it meant to be us back in the day, or to refuse to pay homage to like those who came before us, bro. Like literally, they refuse to do that, bro. And that's what really keeps this place or this space stagnant. That doesn't happen in rock, bro.
No.
That shit ain't happening in fucking even pop or country music. Because you have some of the greats, bro. The Rolling Stones are still rocking now, bro.
Still rocking.
They are still rocking fucking right now, bro. Like straight up. Paul McCartney was able to use AI to recreate a Beatles song, bro, back in the day. You know what I mean? To give, John, John Lennon a voice for a song that was wrote. They were able to do these things. So rock doesn't do that. Or even in contemporary, bro. Folk, a lot of this genre of music, they don't do what we do, bro. They don't hold themselves to a certain, benchmark like hip hop does. You know what I mean? And so I don't think that you have to, and that's why even like you see now where motherfuckers on social media talking about, yo, if you are 50 and above, or if you are 40 and above, keep on rocking because we need y'all. We need y'all because the state of hip hop right now is fucking crazy. Motherfuckers are talking like corny shit, and half the time you don't understand what the hell they talking about, bro.
That's when I knew I was getting older. I was like, is this me or is this shit getting weird? And look, not because I always look at it like this. We had our time, they had their time, and they should have their time. And if it's not for me to get, cool, but it needs to widen up. But when you do have younger artists that come to me and be like, nah, dude, you need to keep rocking. I'm like, no. You can't. I was like, seriously? Like, keep fucking going. So I think I think with the internet and how wide open everything is now, and even with AI, it's going to get even weirder at this point. It is. But with all that being said, I think it's going to be available for everybody to start rocking. And it doesn't, and it's going to be to a point where you're going to have 60-year-old artists catching in and having album of the year. We may see that this, they're 50, you may see it like that. And I mean, and I think it's a beautiful thing because it shouldn't be a thing where it's just, oh, you past that age, you can't do it no more. Now, if music is your only thing, and you are 60 and you don't have any kids and you don't have a home and you put everything until you don't have no benefits, no CDs, money CDs and stuff, then okay, I get it. Maybe you need to like diversify, your habits. That's what I'll say. If you haven't, quote unquote made it and you don't have anything else, maybe you should start diversifying your talents or looking at other things to do. But that doesn't necessarily mean you should stop rocking either. Keep doing what you do, but just know what you're doing it for and what you want out of it. Because not all of us are going to be Grammy nominated. Not all of us are going to sell, $1 million or half or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But you can still make your money from this. So,
bruh, that's the thing. Not all of us are out here. Put it this way, bro. There's an audience for any and everything that we basically do. There's an audience for it. There's an audience out there for us as musicians. There's an audience for, whether it's conscious rap. There's an audience for gangster rap. There's an audience for braggadocious. There's an audience for like this storytelling. You know what I mean? There's always, and actually there's an audience for underground, bro. It is. Yeah. There is. There's an underground for people who they thrive on what was before in that field. That boom bap is still there, bro. The art of lyricism, being a lyricist versus an MC. Anybody can basically be an MC. Not everybody can be a lyricist.
Damn right.
Plain and simple. Right. I mean, I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Anybody can be an MC. I can basically create a TikTok video and just MC the entire time. But what am I really saying? What am I saying to connect the folks? Now, and it doesn't have to definitely mean like, you have to be a backpack rapper conscious. No, But you have to connect to people in some way. They have to hear what you're saying and say, yo, motherfucker say some shit. You feel me? So that's what I believe.
Yeah.
Don't pigeonhole yourself. But I don't to say that, you know, anybody who's basically rocking like rocking at the age of 20, 21 or younger is any better than somebody that's basically rocking at the age of 50 and above. Nah, man, it's bullshit because there's influences and we can learn off of each other, bro.
Exactly.
We can learn off of each other if given that space.
Exactly.
Listen, I'm not here to knock anybody that's young. If you're doing your thing, get it. I will say that some of what's going on right now shouldn't be considered hip hop. It should have a totally different genre.
It should be a totally different genre.
It should be a different genre.
I totally agree with that because some of the stuff is like, what is this? What direction are we going with this? This is not making any sense to me. And it's not even a thing about age. It's just there's still everything there. Hip hop is about in punk rock and all that. It is all about breaking rules, but there are foundational rules, even in structure, in how these songs are put together. I think what was a thing that was alarming to me when a lot of people started rapping off beat, and that became a thing, and I was like, the fuck?
What is that? Like what the fuck? You know what I mean?
What the fuck? You know, I can't get with that.
You just basically reciting a chorus the entire song.
Yeah.
Or everything is basically chorus driven. Or you basically, you know, in sing-song format. You know what I mean? So sing-alongs. Listen, bro, like people do it, but they're doing it a certain way. And I'm not here to knock, but the only time that I'll knock is when you are disrespectful about this art form and acting like people like me and motherfuckers who came before me are non-existent.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's what I got a problem with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the space where I'm like, I ain't feeling that, bro. I'm not feeling with you. That shit right there is bullshit. So we can all exist. I don't think there's an age limit. You can rock to you fucking 80-something years old because it's been proven. Motherfuckers out there can do it. You can rock and just keep on fucking rocking because that's what it is. And a lot of people that come from my generation are memorable and they're timeless.
Yes.
And on top of that, they're consistent. It's because they came up with a body of work and they work hard for this shit. It wasn't shit that appeared on TikTok, Instagram, or they were just a one hit type of no. We're talking about before social media. Motherfuckers put in work. They were going to clubs, rocking, out on the block, rocking, you know, trying to basically get with. And again, a lot of shit that we did back in the day, a lot of artists like myself who, I mean, I'm talking about bootstraps to the ground, out here selling, doing the different things, going to these radio stations and all that, paved the way for a lot of these new cats, bro.
Yeah.
We did. So you can have it easier with social media and shit like that. We didn't have 360 deals back then, bro.
No.
You know what I mean? Motherfuckers were heavily reliant on a label at that time because we didn't have other means to do it. Now there's means to do it. And you don't need a label. The labels are basically thriving off of these artists. They're starving because labels are almost damn near non-existent now. Motherfuckers rather do it independent.
You can cut a record in your bedroom, put that shit on, you know, go to DistroKid or 24 or United Artists, you name it, and just drop that shit. And it will, and if it catches, there you go. I had somebody tell me this, an insider that's in the business told me straight up, like, we don't know. It's up to you. We can only put it out there. We can put you out there, but it's up to the people to really catch in on it.
Yeah.
They've had people to catch in on it and offer them deals. And I think, you know, offering them deals for stuff like that, it can hurt. It can hurt the artist and it can hurt the industry as a whole. But at the end of the day, if it's a tax write-off for them, it's a tax write-off.
Yeah.
And that is what it is. But they really don't know. I think the biggest thing from this is the put your stuff out. Put it out and see where it goes. You know, being young, being old, whatever. But yeah, I totally agree with you. When it comes down to people, you know, trying to downplay somebody for their age, I think we're in a space now that's going to be non-existent, especially seeing from, you know, 50-year-olds. And like I said, doing what the Clips did, I mean, they had a better rollout and a better product than Justin Bieber. So there you go.
See, he was talking shit.
Yeah.
So he was trying to talk shit.
He was
was mad because they took shit. He he was mad as fuck, and motherfuckers was clowning Justin for that shit. They was like, "Hey, you a cornball for that, bro? Just because you got problems." You know what I mean,
for real.
Watch your mouth, man, because the Clips had a better rollout and they got a better response.
All you got to do is just respect that, and that's
respect
what it
that,
is.
bro.
Respect it. Come harder next time, bro.
Respect that, bro. Respect that, bro.
It was the perfect storm. So
it was the perfect respect that, because again, they didn't have a lot of baggage behind this release.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? Motherfuckers wasn't looking at them with issues or problems and none of that. If anything, motherfuckers was like, when y'all coming back? And to have Malice back with Pusha T, you know what I mean? And we know that basically, like I said, Malice is going towards more sort of religious side, but it was the juxtaposition of both that came together to make an incredible project, bro.
Malice was killing shit that album.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Bro, here's the thing. And even Pusha T said it. He was like, yo, I was just a feature on this album. Malice killed everything. Like everything he was on, every track that he was on, motherfuckers was like, yo, I'm sorry, Malice got that. And I'm like, and Pusha was like, good, because basically it's still a Clips album.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you know what I mean? It's not just a Pusha T album. It's this.
Yeah.
And you got features. You know what I mean? You got Kendrick coming on there killing the track, bro. You got that's what I'm talking about, bro. That's what it's about, and they did such a good job with it, and I'm glad they did.
Amazing piece. Before we go, man, I want to talk. I gotta bring this up, man. So the new album.
Yes.
Let's talk about it. What can we expect from it? You know.
Oh man, listen. You can expect fun. You can expect fun, but you can also expect stories. You know, there's a couple of tracks I got on there. I got a track on there called Crush Groove featuring, you know, my sister in this music, Kia, you know, basically she's one of the singers that's on the album. You know, she's coming through. Her sister Melissa's on the track that we actually call Wrong or Right. We got my man Nova, who's coming through on a song called Purple Rose. We got this track that, you know, my man on we call it Quarter Water in Middlesworth. Featuring my man Cordell's coming through on this. We got a track called The News. We got my cousin from Brooklyn, my cousin Dodger, Brooklyn Dodger. He's on a couple of tracks that we got, one called The News and one that actually called a song called Riverdale. When people think about Riverdale, they're gonna think of the show. No, it had nothing to do with the actual show. Riverdale, you'll know where you listen to the track. It's definitely crazy. You know, so that, and again, my man Spirit Arlo, who's on the track, he's on a couple of tracks of mine. That's there. We had I got Lori Livingston, who was in WandaVision. She's on the album. She's on like a couple like interludes. Alexandria Rocho, who's going to be on the album. She was on like one of my first albums. She's coming through to do some work. So this is going to be a complete project, man. It's fun. It's everything that I put it this way. It's a good closeout to a story that's been long. You know what I mean? Maria's story, who started in the very beginning, ends on Quiet Moon, a song called Quiet Moon. Wow. So definitely this is a ride that's long overdue, but I'm glad that it's going to be released on October 25th, which is my birthday. Nice. First single from that song comes out this month on the 25th, which is again Quarter Water in so Quarter Water in Middlesworth is going to be the first single. Second single is going to be Crush Groove featuring Kia. She's going to be on there, and then it's going to be leading up into the actual album release on the 25th of October, man. So yeah, happy about it, bro.
Amazing. We getting videos from this thing?
We're going to get a video. So here's the thing, like we'll probably get 1 or 2 sequences of videos, really artistically creative. I'm getting it with my man. Oh yeah, also my man Maison is on a track called Charlie's Day. Now, Charlie's Day. Think about the name, Charlie's Day. What name? Where do you hear that name from? That name is from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Charlie Day is one of them. But because, bro, Charlie Day is one of the most underrated comedic actors in the industry. He's funny as fuck. If you watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So I came up with this track called Charlie's Day. It doesn't have necessarily anything to do with him, but I just love the name it, Charlie's Day. because it talks about, again, a person who is just free spirited but just experiences life in his neighborhood, and I just love that aspect of it. So that's on my man Mazon's going to be on the album, but I'm actually going to link with him to see if he wants to shoot one of the videos, because he's also a videography, who does a videographer who does like some of his own work. If the universe aligns, I'm definitely going to try to fly back over to Sydney, Australia, and work with Paul Stephanitis to do one of the tracks as well. Also, Madam Parker, my sister in music, she's from New Zealand, Christchurch, New Zealand. She's over there right now. She's been waiting for me to release the album. She's going to have a feature on the album as well. So, man, it's going to be fucking fun. After I get done with this project, everybody who's watching, you're hearing it right now. Jay and Lael Rockwell going to release a little single. We're going to do that, bro. So you already know what time it is. We'll make that shit happen. But yeah, man, I think it's an exciting time. And also for us outside of the collecting community, to show these people in the collecting community what we do, bro. And we have a big enough audience where they'll actually listen to what we got, bro. So that's what I'm happy about, man.
Absolutely. That's amazing. One last question.
Yeah.
I know the original album cover that you came up with was amazing. And I know you were flirting around with the idea of doing another cover. Did you rest on which one you wanted to go with?
Yeah, we're doing Everywhere All at Once is the original. That's the album cover we're gonna rock with. And that picture, here's the thing, the crazy part of how that album cover came about, that picture that you see on there was a picture that Toya took. We were at the Basquiat Museum in New York. And they basically showed, like, we were there, and she took that photo from a far distance. So that's the front cover of the album. The back cover of the album is just me standing under a Basquiat photo. So you'll basically see that. So yeah, everything comes together on this album. And shout out to her for taking that picture. Shout out for her for helping me coming up with the title of the song. Because we love the movie Everywhere All at Once. We already know that was an incredible film, but she was like, that should be the name of your album, because if you think about where you started to where you are now, even in the art of storytelling, those songs, you are in so many places, but at one time when you're writing it. And I was like, yo, it makes perfectly good sense. So that's how I kind of wanted to shape the album. You know what I mean? And the beauty of what we do, bro, is as musicians, producers, and stuff like that, is that we can create our own interludes. We can create sounds and stuff like that. So I love having hands in on this entire album. I think my man Jacob produced one of the songs that I have, two of the songs that I have on the album. He produced two of them that are going to end up on the album. Wrong or Right was the one that he actually produced with me and Melissa. So we'll be doing that one. And he did another song on the album that's called Color Pages. So that's going to actually be on the album as well. But the rest of the song produced by me, and it's just going to be fun. It's going to be a fun ride, man. But yeah, Everywhere All at Once is going to be the album cover. That's the one we are going with, and I'm happy, man. I can't wait to put it out.
Amazing. Can't wait to hear it, and going back and listening to all of those together and just pulling all it. I'm excited. I'm excited. I can't wait. That's amazing. So
yeah.
It is everywhere all at once. Lael Rockwell, thank you so much for joining us on Second Impression. Absolutely. You'll definitely be back.
Can't wait, bro. Can't wait, man. Can't wait.
And once again, guys, thank you so much for listening to Second Impression. Remember to like, share, subscribe.